They say every small town hides a secret. In Green Hollow, it was a building. An old school, Lincoln High, abandoned but not quite empty. Constructed in 1926, it had seen generations of students walk through its now rotting doors. But no one talked about the second floor. Not anymore. Emily Grayson was new to town, a senior with a camera and a thirst for attention. Her TikTok had a modest following, and she was always chasing the next viral thrill. One overcast afternoon, she filmed a goofy dance in front of the chain-link fence of Lincoln High. Jake Rivers, class clown and occasional conspiracy theorist, joined in. Ever heard the story of Eleanor Baker? Jake asked, eyes glinting. Sounds like a made-up name. Emily scoffed. She was a student here. Vanished during her last class of the day. No one ever found her, but her locker reopened itself. Weeks later, Emily smirked. But that night, she Googled it. Local teen disappears inside Lincoln High, 1962. Eleanor M. Baker, 17, missing without a trace. Last seen in the music room. Investigation closed. No leads. The idea was born. A midnight exploration of the school. Perfect for views. Emily pitched it to Jake, who brought in Sophia, skeptical but curious, and Tyler, the tech guy. Saturday night, 12:01 a.m. They slipped in through a cracked window in the back. The school groaned under their feet. Lockers rusted shut. Dust clung to the air like smoke. Every step echoed. Feels like a time capsule, Sophia whispered. The main hallway was lined with portraits of old principals. But someone had turned all the frames to face the wall. A strange detail, they ascended to the second floor. Cold hit them instantly, unnatural, like stepping into a freezer. The flashlight flickered. Tyler tapped it. Cheap batteries? He mumbled. Jake stopped in front of a door marked music room. It creaked open. Inside, dust-covered instruments lay untouched. On the floor sat a cracked leather backpack. Inside, a diary. Emily read aloud. Mr. Baker says today is the final lesson. He says I'll understand the silence. He brought candles. Jake frowned. Mr. Baker, that was her last teacher. Suddenly, from the hallway, silence. Everyone froze. Was that you? Sophia asked. Jake shook his head. No one's messing around. The school bell rang. A deep, resonant ding. But the electricity had been shut off for decades. Emily dropped the diary. The flashlight went out. Darkness. Then, another ding that Emily's hands trembled as she picked up the diary again, using her phone's flashlight now. The screen cast a blue glow on the worn, yellowed pages. Ink smudges, scratch marks, and uneven handwriting hinted at fear buried deep in time. Mr. Baker said we are all echoes of the lesson. The ones who listen will learn. This is crazy, Tyler said, trying to lighten the mood. It's like she was in a cult. Sophia stood at the door. We should leave. But the door creaked shut behind her. They tried it. Locked. No bolt. Just stuck. The temperature kept dropping. Okay, let's keep calm, Emily said, her breath now visible. We'll find another way out. Jake, always the skeptic turned believer, flipped through more pages. He brought a bell. Said the ringing opens the gate. He whispered my name 3 times before the walls changed. Jake looked up. Do you hear that? There was a sound like paper fluttering, then a slow scrape like metal dragging across tile. They all turned toward the hallway. Something was there but a figure. Thin, pale, head tilted unnaturally, wearing what looked like a 1960s school uniform. Its face was featureless, just blank skin, like WAX that IT stepped forward. They ran, down the corridor, past doors that seemed to multiply, stretch. Everything felt wrong, like the building had changed its shape. The school was no longer just a place. It was alive. Tyler pointed to a stairwell. There! They burst through it and rushed down, only to find the first floor gone. The stairs led back to the second floor. If they'd looped, Sophia was crying now. We're not supposed to be here. We opened something. Emily turned back a few pages in the diary. If the bell rings twice, it begins. 3 times, and she walks. Then, as if on cue, ding. They all froze, ding. Their breathing stopped, a ding. The hallway lights, dead for decades, flickered to life. And from the end of the corridor, the bell itself appeared, hovering in the air, spinning, glowing, and beneath it stood a girl. Not a ghost, not Eleanor. Emily, a mirror version. Smiling, holding the diary, and behind her, one by one, lockers began to open by themselves. The hallway echoed with a low hum, like distant whispers trapped in the walls. Emily stood frozen, staring at the mirrored version of herself holding the diary. The doppelganger smiled, unnaturally calm, and then disappeared in a flicker of static, as if reality glitched. Sophia backed into Jake. "That was you, right?" Emily shook her head slowly. I think it wants me." Tyler was recording, his phone trembling in his hands. The lockers along the hallway began slamming shut, one by one, in a rhythmic cadence. Bang, 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 from behind them. A chalkboard screeched as ghostly writing etched itself onto the surface. The final lesson begins. The temperature dropped again. Their breaths fogged the air like smoke. Something was shifting in the space between walls. "Look!" Jake pointed. The diary was now on the floor, open to a torn page. Once the bell tolls 3, the student must complete the lesson or be kept in the hall forever. "What the hell does that mean?" Tyler asked. The hallway stretched, elongating with every step they took. Doors multiplied, all marked with room numbers that made no sense. Room 303, 404, 666, that a door creaked open on its own. Inside, a classroom lit with candlelight. The air was thick, pulsing with dread. They entered. Desks were neatly aligned, each with an old composition book. Chalk outlined a circle on the floor. In the center, a chair faced the blackboard. Written in large letters, "Emily Grayson, attendance required, nope." "Nope, I'm done," Sophia muttered, turning to leave, but the door slammed shut. The candles flared. Emily was pulled into the chair as if yanked by invisible hands. Her body locked into place. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. Jake rushed forward but was thrown back against the wall, blood smearing behind his head. Sophia and Tyler screamed. On the blackboard, words wrote themselves. "The silence is the answer. Listen." Emily's mind filled with voices. Hundreds of them, whispering fragments, "Don't speak." She learned too late. Become the echo. Her eyes rolled back as she was forced to relive Eleanor's final moments. Flashes of 1962. A teacher with hollow eyes. Students staring blankly. A bell tolling. Then, nothing. Emily gasped. The chalk circle glowed. From the shadows, Eleanor appeared, pale, crying black tears, holding a candle. She whispered, "Finish it. Please take my place." Emily's voice returned. "No." But the diary flipped on its own to the final page. The student who listens becomes the teacher. The class never ends. Tyler pulled Sophia from the classroom and slammed the door behind them. Jake wasn't moving. Blood dripped from his scalp. Inside, Emily screamed, but it was cut short. Then silence. "Emily." Tyler pounded the door. "We have to get her out." Sophia pulled it back. "She's gone. That thing isn't her anymore." The hallway was shifting again. The lockers had names now. Emily, Jake, Sophia, Tyler. Their photos, aged in black and white, sat above them like memorials. She was chosen, Sophia said. That room, it turned her into something else. The school bell rang again. But this time it wasn't deep, it was shrill, angry. Lights overhead burst, one by one if they ran. But the school had no exits. Every stairwell looped. Every hallway curved back. Then they heard footsteps. Slow, confident. Emily appeared from the shadows, but not as they knew her. She wore an old-fashioned uniform. Her eyes were completely black. She smiled softly. "I understand now," she said. "The silence, it teaches you everything." "Emily, please," Tyler began. "You're late to class." She raised her hand. The diary levitated beside her. A force slammed Sophia into a locker, knocking her out cold. Tyler screamed, pulling her away just in time. They ducked into the gymnasium. Broken bleachers, faded banners, a final refuge. Tyler barricaded the door. "She's not Emily anymore." Sophia stirred. "We have to end the lesson. Destroy the diary." They scoured the gym until they found a rusty trash can and matches from the vending area. Moments later, Emily burst in. "I'll give you detention for that," she whispered, voice layered with dozens of others. Tyler threw the diary into the flames. Emily screamed, a sound that shook the entire building. Her face cracked like porcelain. The lights flickered violently. Then, the bell rang one last time. Ding. Emily collapsed. The walls stopped moving. The school was silent. The silence didn't last long. Tyler knelt beside Emily's collapsed body. Her eyes fluttered open, but they were no longer black. She blinked, dazed, as if waking from a nightmare. "Him?" he whispered. She sat up slowly, confused. "What happened?" Before Tyler could respond, the gym lights flickered once more, then steadied. Sophia groaned, regaining consciousness. Together, the three of them stared at the smoldering remains of the diary. "It's over," Sophia murmured. "Right." They exited the gym cautiously. The school was still. No whispers, no moving shadows. Every hallway led where it should. The second floor was quiet. They found Jake, still breathing barely. Tyler lifted him with Sophia's help. They made their way back to the broken window and slipped out into the cold morning air. The sky was gray but real. Emily looked back once. Lincoln High stood unchanged, but she felt it watching point 2 weeks later. Jake remained in a coma. Emily hadn't spoken much since that night. Tyler tried reaching her, but she was always distant. Sophia transferred schools without saying goodbye. Point 1 morning, Emily stood outside Lincoln High again. The building had been condemned, scheduled for demolition. The local paper even featured their paranormal experience, twisting the truth for clicks. But Emily knew. She clutched something in her hand, a torn page from the diary. It hadn't burned with the rest. The teacher leaves. The class continues. The bell must ring. That night, she dreamed of the school. She walked its halls, alone, until she reached the music room. The door opened for her. Inside, a single desk waited, and on the board, "Welcome back, M.S. Grayson." She woke up screaming. Point 1 year later. Lincoln High was never demolished. The company pulled out. The city ran out of funds. Vagrants claimed it was haunted. Locals avoided the street. But inside, the classroom was ready. Desks aligned, candles burned. A new diary sat on the podium, and at the blackboard stood a figure in uniform. Black eyes, calm smile. Emily Grayson. She rang the bell. Ding. Somewhere in town, another student had just moved in. Another class was about to begin.